Okay, so this is problem 10.5.51, and in the question they ask us, in 5-card poker, a straight is 5 cards of consecutive denominations that are not all the same suit, and we want to know how many ways are there to get a straight. Okay, so the first thing is we have to understand the wording, and when they say denominations, they're referring to each rank of the cards. So for instance, an ace is a rank, a 2 is a rank, a 3 is a rank, and in each deck of cards you have that rank. You have 13 ranks, so you have ace, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to, the king, queen, jack, and then you have 4 suits. So in each suit you have those 13 ranks. Okay, so if you're unfamiliar with playing cards, you might want to get a deck and look at them, because it'll be helpful. We're going to continue in chapter 11 to see cards being used for examples. Okay, so the way that we want to think about this is, if we just first of all think about what a straight is. So a straight is where you have 5 cards in a row. So you have an ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, or you could have a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so what you're doing is you're starting and you're having cards in a row. So we want to start by thinking about how many starting positions do we have. So I'm just going to kind of make a list here. So we could start with an ace being a low card. If we think of the ace being low, you can either think of it as being low or high, and I'm going to think of it as being low. And then you can start with a 2. So if you start with an ace, you would have a 5-card hand. That would be an ace, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so I'm not going to write all that out, but if you start with a 2, you would obviously have a 5-card hand of a 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And so you want to count, first thing we want to do is just count all of the starting positions that we have. So we have a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then we can go up to a 10. But once you get up to 10, your 10 situation here would be 10, jack, queen, king, and then ace. And so, and the ace can be used here as a high card as well. So what you can see here is we have basically 10 starting positions. But now these 10 starting positions, actually, we have 10 starting cards, but we actually have 4 suits that have those 10 cards. So there's actually 40 ways to start a straight. You could start it with an ace of hearts, an ace of diamonds, an ace of clubs, or an ace of spades. You could start it with a 2 of hearts, 2 of diamonds, etc., etc. So each of these starting points can be started in any particular suit. Okay, so that's 40 of them. We've got 10 and then we've got 4 suits, so that's where I'm getting 40 starting positions. Okay, now once you've chosen your starting position, think about what has to happen. The rest of it is laid out for you. I mean, if you start at a 10, you have to have then a jack, a queen, a king, and an ace. You have no choice, because if you're going to have a straight, that's the way it has to go. So you know that you're picking a jack, for instance, but there are 4 jacks in the deck. So there's 4 ways to pick this second slot. There's 4 ways to pick the third slot, 4 ways for the 4th slot, and 4 ways for the 5th slot. And that's just going to apply for all of these, because the 40 takes into account all these starting positions. Once you have any of particular starting position, then you have 4 options for whatever the next cards, each of the next cards are. Okay, and that's because of the 4 different suits. All right, so what we're looking at so far is 40 times we have 4 of these 4s. Now, that actually counts all of the straights, and one of the things that we have to pay attention to in the problem, and if you don't play poker, it might be hard to sort of understand this, but they did say in the problem that they're not all the same suit. So when you have cards that are all the same suit and you have a straight, it's actually called a straight flush. Excuse me, and a straight flush is not considered to be a straight. They're considered to be different. So in this counting right here, we've actually counted not only all of the straights, but all of the straight flushes as well, because we've counted the situation where, for instance, this could be a 10 of hearts, and all of these could be hearts as well, and that gives us a straight flush. Okay. So there are 40 ways to get a straight flush because you can start here with each of these starting positions. And then, you know, if we were to just count this again, let's say you start with an ace of hearts, then you've got one choice for this position, you know, well, I don't want to write a 1 there. It would have to be a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5 of that same suit. So you just have one choice for each of these positions once you know what your starting card is. Okay, so since there's 40 ways to start a straight flush, then we need to actually subtract 40 from this grouping right here. So if you multiply all of this out, you're going to get, so you get 10,240 minus the 40, so you're going to get 10,200. Okay, so that would be the answer there.